Welcome to the Healers Café, conversations on health and healing with Dr. Manon.
So welcome to the Healers Café. And today I have with me Tom Paladino. And we're going to have a very interesting discussion on scalar energy, which he's going to share with you. And he's theorized that all this energy in the universe initiates as scalar energy, and that it's what provides order in the universe. And he was inspired by the work of Nikola Tesla, which gave him the pursuit into the scalar light healing. And for over 50 years, he has researched and pursued the goal of duplicating the work of Nikola Tesla. And his vision is a worldwide free healing ministry for billions of people.
Yes.
So, well, welcome to this interview. And I want to ask you, what started you, first and foremost, in this journey?
Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for the invite. As a child, I had a vivid memory, and I still have a vivid memory. And maybe we should say that this driving impulse that I had as a youngster, I'm fulfilling it now, and it's a lifelong passion that I have to bring to the world this alternative energy, this alternative method of power generation, scalar energy. It's 0 point energy. So it's been if you will, my lifelong passion to do so. And I'm happy to say that it's been a career that's been worthwhile.
But okay, so why don't you share a little bit for people who have never heard of, which still is possible, about scalar energy. What was it that drew you? What is it that fascinated you? And what do you see that can happen because of it?
Yeah, there was a great scientist, Nikola Tesla, and Tesla discovered this energy. He called it radiant energy. Again, some people today call it chi or prana or 0 point energy. And it was fascinating what this man, Nikola Tesla, could achieve with scalar energy. Just incredible, the results that he could achieve. And I knew as a youngster that what he was doing held such great promise to mankind. And I would read and I would devour any literature I could on this great inventor, Nikola Tesla. And I said, someday I'm going to follow in his footsteps. And today, I believe in some capacity, I'm following in his footsteps. And again, this is such a technology that's going to grip the world someday. Mm-hmm. This is free energy. It's the energy of the stars. And once the world realizes that, we'll have a new way of living. It'll be a world filled with scalar energy technology. It's going to change mankind.
So how does one tap into or connect to, or give us a little bit more how this works?
Okay. This is the initial energy of the universe, the energy of the stars. Now, you can tap into this, and it's easy to do so. Everybody who can think and can express themselves by some type of cognitive thought, it's always been my consideration that a brain wave is a scalar wave. Mm-hmm. Okay, scalar energy carries information. Well, that's what a brainwave is. It carries information. So we're really into this point of metaphysics, if you will. It's a massless energy, but it's filled with information. So that's what we're working with, the information or the matrix of the universe. I've been fortunate enough to develop instruments that can control scalar energy, that can broadcast this information. So if you don't have an instrument, that's okay. Everybody has a mind, and the human mind will control and broadcast scalar energy.
Mm-hmm. So how would you compare it, for example, or explain the differences between, so like I'm sure you've heard about like homeopathic medicine,
Yes.
for example, and there it's not nanoparticles, sorry, that's the wrong subject entirely, but it's tiny doses that are not even, they're past Avogadro's number, right? And they're so tiny, and yet when you take a remedy that is your match, in other words, that really like cures like, then it activates what we call our innate vital force to heal.
Yes. I believe that the animating force of homeopathy is scalar energy. I believe that scalar energy actually potentiates any type of homeopathic reagent, if you will.
Yeah.
So this now will, if you will, lift the veil of, and will no longer have this mystery that surrounds homeopathy. It really is scalar energy in action. And this, to me, this is so exciting that we finally can explain the universe and we finally have a handle on these matters, so to speak. Homeopathy really is a function of scalar energy.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's, I was wondering how you would see them linked, but it makes sense to me. And it's the same with, I also teach body work called Bowen therapy, which the points are very much on meridian lines, but it works with the fascial matrix, which is, again, communicating right through the body, surrounds all our organs and connects, everything together. And sometimes I look at it and I go, okay, I know my physiology, I know my anatomy, I've done dissection. How are we getting what we're getting? And
yes, exactly. Now, I don't mean to in any way to negate the medical arts, but there's something much more refined that gives that the animating force, which is scalar energy. In other words, before you have a physical body, you have to have instructions. Now, if science ever considered the fact that there's 7 chakras, and it's my consideration that those chakras are empowered or instructed by scalar energy, then we have those 7 points of instruction in our body. And those 7 scalar energy vortices give the body their information that they need. So this now is starting to come full circle, and we now can understand the physiology of the body, right? Sure, there's something much more subtle to it. It's that metaphysical concept. It's that information that gives it its life. I've often thought that the circadian rhythm, our heartbeat, what gives us our heartbeat? Right. To me, in my consideration, it has to be scalar instructions. In other words, what's telling our heart to beat? It has to be some type of information. And the only information that I can think of, it's scalar information.
So it's really the energy that animates the processes from which then we make deductions, but it's the source, kind of, in that sense.
It is the source. It is the source. And hopefully now we're going to see that we'll have a marriage of thought here. Well, we're no longer going to have this what I would consider thinking that is no longer cohesive. What I'm trying to do is show that the cohesive denominator in the universe is scalar energy, because it all starts with light, with energy. So scalar energy is a common denominator we've all been looking for.
Yeah, no, makes sense. Yeah, it actually, I was thinking, not that long ago, it was in January, I did a TEDx talk in, where is it? Las Vegas. I'm from Canada. So it takes me a moment to figure out where that is, that place with all these casinos and stuff. But I did a talk there where I was talking about the French philosopher Descartes, right? Who had made this deal with the government, right? And the church, because they wanted to analyze the body and actually look at the parts as if that was going to give more instruction to everything. And so they sort of made a deal. Well, the church would get the soul and the spirit, and the medical professionals and the state would get the body to study its parts. And from that time, we've sort of further dissected the body into smaller parts. We have specialists for every single body part, and we have missed the whole.
Yeah.
We're lost in the parts.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we have systems, sure, but what runs the systems? You know, so no, it's fascinating. And then there's, again, I'm probably politically incorrect, but that's okay. So, I mean, I understand spiritualism. I have more issues with seriously organized religions, just because I have the same problem with most of these seriously organized groups, whether it's governments or whether, you know, in the end, it all starts, you think good, but it ends up being really control. And I'm very much for the empowerment of people. And I have seen in my practice over 30 years now, more and more that the connection to, and I put it all in one big thing, spiritualism. What is that? And what's the link for you between scalar energy and spiritualism? And is there one? And what is it?
There is. I have a belief that there is a creator, a God, and I believe God animates the universe through scalar energy. So, you know, if you could think in those terms, that there is a creator, and how does he act? How does this creator work? Well, scalar energy is his paintbrush, so to speak. And that's really, to me, that's quite appropriate. And I'll tell you why. It's an infinite energy. It's everywhere. It's clean. It's pure. It's from the stars. It's a internal energy. What do I mean? It never dies. There's no entropy. So if the creator is going to create an energy, would it not be pure, clean, perpetual energy? Would it not carry instructions? Yeah, that sounds like scalar energy. So regardless of your background, if you remember, I considered scalar energy chi or prana. And many people in the Asian culture can resonate with that. That's what it is. Now, if you're from Western society, maybe you call it 0 point energy or the matrix, or maybe you call it scalar energy. But regardless of the term, there is an animating force in the universe. It's not electricity. That animating force is chi, prana, scalar energy, 0 point energy. And this really drives the universe. I'm convinced that scalar energy is the fundament of the universe.
So, okay, but how we experience it as people, I mean, especially in healing. And so I'm curious how you see this. So I tell people, well, you're so beautifully made. You were never deficient of, you might be deficient of some nutrients or substrates to make all things go well, because our soils are lacking things and there's lots of poisonous substances in the world now, you know, glycophosphates, so many things going on. So yes, we may have to compensate, but we are essentially beautifully made. And when we heal, as long as you give the body what it needs as nutrient based, and remedies, it could be acupuncture, it could be many bone therapy, many things that can help it. Your body knows what to do with this because we have innate healing. So that innate ability of the body to self-organize into a healing way, because it decides how to do it on its own. It's not like the practitioner goes, I want you to do this in this order, please. It doesn't work like that. The body goes, okay, I'm going to deal with this first, that next. Like, it just does it in a certain order. But it feels like it's self-animated.
Yes, precisely. Precisely. When I work with my scalar energy instruments, I simply let them download or impart this energy, this light to people. And by the way, I want to underscore this. When I work with people, I work with people remotely by way of a photograph.
Okay.
My instrument, people email me a photograph and I will actually place a photograph inside the instrument. So this is how these instruments work, by way of photographs. Now, what do I mean by that? It's purely an information system. Once you tap into the scalar energy force field, it's an information system. And I work with everybody by way of an emailed photograph, only giving further credence to the notion that this is non-physical and some type of an information field that is universal.
So that's interesting, because when you're looking at a picture or the scalar, is it a device, or what's the right word? Device or instrument?
Device, that's fine, sure.
Instrument or
Sure.
what?
Device or instrument, either or.
The thing. that works. So it picks up the information it needs.
Yes.
And then the person whose picture it is starts to experience the changes.
That's correct. So this is a force field. This is a force field that we can find upon a photograph. And the instrument immediately ascertains a person's force field.
Hi, I'm Dr. Manon Bolliger, and I wanted to take a moment to thank you for watching these podcasts. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Also, feel free to leave comments and like it. This way, more people get to find out about this work and about other choices for health. So I think it's really important that we all share this information. I have a free gift to you. It's a 7-sequence email that has tips for every day, and it's a little insight about how to live your life when it comes to health. And it's very much built on how I managed to overcome stage 4 cancer and what it took. So I would love you to have this, and thank you once again for listening to these podcasts.
Their scalar energy force field. And that's what's so profound. So there's no human interpretation on my part.
Right. Yeah.
The energy is the animating force. In other words, if this is God's energy, I'm not going to tell God how to govern the universe.
And the reason you I'm not against God or a God, but I'm just trying to understand how it fits in from within to the idea that there's still somebody that's in charge of all of this. Like, how does that,
I would say so. There has to be. In other words, if we have a universe, the universe had to be created. Okay. There always has to be a cause before that cause, so to speak. And the first cause has to be God, as far as I'm concerned. So we have a created universe from an uncreated God, if you will. So I look at the universe and I'm saying, what is, again, what are the underpinnings of this universe? And it's scalar light. Scalar light gives life to everything. Without scalar life, there would not be any order. Scalar life gives order out of chaos. So scalar light is much more than just the intelligence of the universe. It sustains everything. Without scalar light, we wouldn't have a heartbeat. Without scalar light, we would not have brain waves. Without scalar light, the universe would be pure chaos in an instant. So I would say that that's the fundament of the universe, scalar light. That's the information system of the universe. And I have the ability to control that energy by way of a device.
And so, what does the device look like?
They're custom built instruments. If I laid that on a table, it'd be about 7 feet long, close to 150 pounds in weight, and they are really engineering feats, if you will.
Wow, incredible. So then, and how does it work? Let's say if I wanted to, like, do people need a diagnosis, or they come with, okay, so go ahead.
That's the beauty of it. And again, I don't mean to cut you short.
No.
I don't diagnose. The energy diagnosis.
Yeah.
People will email me a photograph. I only work with emailed photographs, and I actually place that photograph inside the instrument. And then the instrument accesses their force field or their information field. And I'm able to break down microbes or balance the 7 chakras with this instrument. I'm able to balance the brain waves. The instrument has also shown the ability to assemble nutrients. And again, I do all of this by way of this force field, this information force field found on a photograph of a person or an animal. So I know this sounds futuristic, but this is a new science. Scalar energy is not electrical science. So we're now venturing into this new realm of scalar energy research, and it is groundbreaking. It's quite different.
And so, I mean, this sounds a ridiculous question, because if somebody asked me, I would say, well, it depends. But I'm going to ask you this silly question. So if a person, let's say they feel they have whatever, a few things going on, and they don't need to tell you this, and of course it depends what they have going on, but how quickly and how do they know things are shifting?
Everybody's different. And usually within a week or two, people feel different, usually. The fact that I never meet people, just consider, I work with people by way of their photograph. I rarely meet any of them. So I have to take their feedback, and I have to accept their feedback. I would say the greater majority of people feel better after I work with their photograph. But it really relies upon their response and their testimony. And I cannot speak for them, obviously, because I've never met them. Sure. And obviously because there's no physical interaction. So I have to rely upon their word of mouth testimony.
So what about, because I was sort of nicknamed Dr. Possibility because many people came in with chronic, incurable diseases, right? And, I'm not going to say I've never seen such a thing. I'm not that, there are some genetic situations where it seems like, okay, these features don't change, but many of the ones we call chronic and irreversible are not, and not just by the work that many of us can do, but they're just not. People heal all kinds of ways. And so if a person had MS or neurological diseases, which, are probably going to be on the increase, would this be have you seen that turnaround? In some.
Okay. I can't give a blanket statement, but no. Yes, in some. I've seen some people who come to us in the early stages of Lyme disease or the early stages of, say, Alzheimer's, and we can help them. And one of the reasons is because we can repair the chakras, and we can also eliminate the microbes. Many of those microbes, once they get past the blood-brain barrier, will cause neurological impairment.
Right.
So I've not learned how to regenerate tissue with these instruments. Yeah. But I can eradicate microbes, viruses, bacteria, fungi from the body. I can balance the chakras. And many times that is what's needed in the early stages of the disease, even chronic disease. Now, again, to use the extreme, some people have such neurological impairment that we see that their brain cells have deteriorated. I cannot regenerate brain cells.
Yeah. But things that cross the blood-brain barrier, I mean, they should still be still treatable, no?
Yes, they are. Yes,
Yeah.
they are.
Okay. I was going to say, because it would make sense that they.
Right.
they
When I
would-
work with this energy, it floods the body, so to speak. You're treated from
Yeah.
head to toe.
Yes. Yeah. It makes sense.
And we've actually had some people submit MRIs in which we could see spirochetes in their brain. And
Right.
after our sessions, there are no spirochetes.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. No, that's fascinating. I mean, it makes intuitive sense to me what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah. So I haven't. I have not witnessed this or had any experience with it.
Mhm.
I might be interested.
It is groundbreaking, to say the least. You know, these are custom built instruments. I don't know of anybody else in the world that's doing this. So these are unique instruments, hence my approach is unique.
Right. And how long have you been, I mean, studying it obviously for years,
My
but
life.
how long have you been doing the treatments or seeing?
I've been able to develop these instruments and have mastery over them, I would say, over the past 25 years. And then my expertise every year increases with this type of energy. So for the past 25 years, I've been using the instruments.
Mhm.
And so I'm very comfortable now with using these instruments. I have a track record, so to speak,
Right.
and it works. After 25 years, I think I know what I'm doing. I think I have a good understanding as to what I'm doing.
Mhm. And do you find that people need to come back often, or does it set like, like in the practice I do, yes, there are follow-ups, but I do find that once the body kind of knows how to go forward, like in homeopathy, you repeat with relapses. So yes, but at one point it looks like it just knows what to do and you don't need to do anything. And same with bone therapy.
With some people, that's true. And especially, doctor, with those who are scrupulous about their diet and scrupulous about their health. If you're really prudent and you eat well and you follow the rubrics of sound health, once, so to speak, Scalar Energy reprograms you, some people don't need to come back to me. Some people are on that road, that self-directed road. And as long as you don't deviate from those norms, yes, some people can live a life without the need of scalar energy intervention.
Right. And when you say that the roots or the bases of solid, I forgot exactly the word you used, but solid foundations or food wise, given how many completely different positionings available for people, what do you see as the foundations
For nutrition?
Yeah, when you say if people don't deviate from
Okay.
good foundations, what is
I think many people really have to embrace a plant-based diet. I try to. Please do not ever eat any junk food. To me, it's so simple. My wife and I are very scrupulous. I think that's one of the big drawbacks today in society, especially in Western society. You know, we're surrounded by fast food and convenient food. Don't eat that. It's a temptation. It's junk. It's not going to do any good for your body. Every meal, every time you put something in your mouth, it has to be filled with nutrition. It has to be a nutrient-rich food. That's the key. That's the key. I'm not saying that you have to go to a distant land to find an exotic herb. No. But sound health starts with food. You have to eat natural foods. And in Western society, you cannot eat junk food, plain and simple.
No, that's kind of the basis I tell my patients too, because the rest is like, what can they absorb? And that's all things that could be worked through. But there's such a high level of allergies now, and it's getting worse and worse. And how are you seeing something that explains that you can pick up through the work you do?
From my work, I think a lot of that has to do with genetically modified food. A lot of that has to do with with the pollution that we experience. And there is evidence that is now forthcoming that sometimes when people are over vaccinated, that can produce allergic reactions. So it's our environment. We live in a polluted environment.
Glyphosate.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And thank God I don't have any allergic reaction. To me, what is an allergy? It's the body that has misinterpreted some type of information, or it's a poison in the body that the body's trying to get rid of. In other words, why is it that some people are allergic to certain foods? I'm not allergic to anything. So to me, that's misinformation. If you're allergic to a certain type of food, that to me, that your body should not have such an adverse or perhaps an autoimmune response. So some allergies are miscommunication, or it's an informational disease. It's an informational disease. And in some cases, I've been with Scalar Energy with my proper information, been able to reverse food allergies, because I simply reload or reprogram the body, and the body says, well, no, I'm not allergic to that food. That food is not considered to be harmful. So in some cases, an allergy is a misinterpretation. It's the faulty information. And a chakra balancing with Scalar Energy can change that faulty information.
Yeah. I guess I've been seeing it more like your cup is full. And so if you're adding things that aren't, like you say, like fast foods, if you have anything that puts you off, or oils, that are vegetable oils, that are this kind of stuff that can cause so many havocs, or sugars or things like that, your cup is full. So then you're going to be more reactive to more things. And if you sort of go back to basics and clean things, many things seem to go back in alignment, So yeah, very interesting. Yeah. Well, any last things you would like? Our time's already up. I can't believe it.
I admire your career, and I admire your discipline, and I thank you for teaching people these principles of health. You go back to nature, you go back to the basics, and many people will be healthy. And I've always been an advocate that nutrition is so important. So I thank you for what you're doing, and we need more people like you, Doctor, to hold up that standard. So good for you.
Well, it's being corroded, I've got to say, at this point. It's especially in the last couple of years with what's been going on here. There's immense pressures, on all healthcare practitioners and doctors, and the word prevention is just not part of the options we have for people. And we're extremely stifled right now. So like all other professionals, so we have a big gag order, so we can't say basic things that really could help people. That's it's the truth. So I'm definitely hoping that our boards and our associations find the vocation of becoming a naturopathic physician worth preserving, because I agree with you. I think the roots and the foundation of an integral medicine that looks at food, yes, but also everything else about a person, their beliefs, their thoughts, their economic standing, their social standing, everything, all of this is part of us, and I think it's really important to look at the world that way. So thank you for your comments. All right. Well, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us at the Healers Café with Dr. Manon. For more information, go to drmanonbolliger.com.